The Tibetan Book of the Dead. Chapter 13. A Masked Drama of Rebirth. Herein is contained a masked drama entitled Natural Liberation of the Intermediate State of Rebirth, a teaching revealing the natural expression of virtue and negativity in the intermediate state of rebirth, which is an extract from the Peaceful and Wrathful Deities, a profound sacred teaching entitled Natural Liberation Through Recognition of Enlightened Intention. I respectfully bow down to the uncreated Buddha body of reality, Samantabhadra and Samantabhadri in union, to the unceasing Buddha body of perfect radiance, the peaceful and wrathful lotus deities, and to the naturally arising Buddha body of emanation, Padmakara. May all beings be liberated in the intermediate state. Having earlier presented the empowerments and introductions from the liberation by hearing in the intermediate states, an extract from the peaceful and wrathful lotus deities, and having introduced the intermediate state of reality, which is the great liberation by seeing, now I will present a means of demonstrating the introduction to the intermediate state of rebirth. The scene. Here, having completed the previous introductions to the intermediate states of the time of death and reality, I will present in the form of a masked drama the introduction to the intermediate state of rebirth. The spiritual teacher should now appear fully attired in the costume of Yama Dharmaraja and wear a large wrathful mask depicting Yama. He is carrying a large wooden slate in his right hand, and in his left he holds a large round mirror. Dressed in a silk brocade gown, he is seated on a great throne. In his retinue there is a figure dressed as the black ox-headed Raksha demon, wearing an ox-head mask and holding a black lasso. Then, seated to the right, there is another figure dressed as the monkey-headed elemental spirit, with the face of a monkey and holding a weight and measure in his hands. Other figures also present include one dressed as the boar-headed cemetery spirit, carrying a wooden slate, one dressed as the venomous snake-headed demon, with the face of a snake and carrying a mirror, one dressed as the ferocious bear-headed figure, with the face of a bear and holding a bellows, one dressed as the awesome lion-headed figure, with the face of a lion and clutching a hammer, and one dressed as the Garuda-headed bird figure, with the face of a Garuda and holding a saw. These figures with diverse animal heads, who are attired similarly to Yama, are dignified and standing in rows, to the right and left of Dharmaraja. The deity representing the deceased's good conscience is wearing a white, peaceful mask and a white silk robe, and is carrying a bowl filled with white pebbles. The demon representing the deceased's bad conscience is wearing a black, wrathful mask and a black gown, and is carrying a bowl filled with black pebbles. Before Dharmaraja on the right is a long white carpet, which is rolled out like a white pathway, and at its end are two figures dressed in the costume of Mahakarunika, with one face and four arms, and bedecked with ornaments. They are seated at the end of the white carpet on a throne which is hidden by a curtain. On the left side is a long black carpet, which is rolled out like a black pathway, and it leads to the door of a dark room. Hidden elsewhere in his home is a person named the late Sri Jata, gloriously born, while hidden somewhere in the corner of the stage is someone named the late Lakshanaraka, 100,000 hells, who is a wrongdoing outcast of low birth. Act 1. Dharmaraja, as he draws a cross on the wooden slate. O ox-headed Raksha, it seems the time of death has come for a person in their home in the human world. The indication of this has appeared on my wooden slate. Ox-headed Raksha, calling to the venomous snake-headed demon. O venomous snake-headed one, look in your mirror. What is this deceased person's country? What is his family line? And what is his name? Please look. Venomous snake-headed demon. O the deceased whose time has come is from the country of Tamradvipa in India, and he lived in the city of Santikala, which is a township of butchers. As for his family line, he belonged to the lowest social class of the 4 classes, and his name is the wrongdoing Lakshanaraka. His lifespan has come to an end, and thus an indication of this has appeared on the wooden slate. Now, go and fetch him. Thereupon the ox-headed Raksha, the boar-headed cemetery spirit, and the demon representing the deceased's bad conscience run off, while in their wake the deity representing the deceased's good conscience rushes to his assistance. As soon as they have found the wrongdoing one in his house in the human world, they tie a black noose around his neck, and then ox-headed Raksha and boar-headed cemetery spirit both lead him away by the hands. The demon representing the deceased's bad conscience chases him from behind, carrying a load of black pebbles. Meanwhile, the deity representing the deceased's good conscience places a mere 6 white pebbles in the bowl for white pebbles, and in embarrassment tries to help. Holding a white scarf with his hands folded in a gesture of supplication, he attempts to petition ox-headed Raksha on behalf of the deceased, but this is unsuccessful. Lakshanaraka is then brought screaming into the presence of Dharmaraja. Dharmaraja interrogates him. Who are you, you black human being carrying a weight and measure? Where are you from? Why do you not dare to look at me directly? You appear to have attained a human form, but what portion of your positive virtue is now left? Have you ever had any scruples about committing negative actions? What do you have to say about this? Speak quickly now. The wrongdoing one, Lakshanaraka, lamentingly. Alas, alas, permit me to speak in the presence of Yama Dharmaraja. I had an ordinary human form, my resources were few, my food and clothing poor. I have had many female dependents, and thus little to eat. I had to take the lives of many beings, and many years have passed since I ate rice, for I had nothing but warm, freshly slain meat to eat. Many years have passed since I drank rice wine or pure liquor, for when thirsty I had to drink water and blood. Nowadays, in the populated areas of the world, there are many who claim to be spiritual friends. They frequently teach about the defects of having committed negative actions and the benefits of having carried out positive actions. However, I did not go to them. Also, everyone would say, don't persist in such negative actions, as one day death will come, and at that time you will go to the hells. You should renounce wrongdoing and perform virtuous actions. Even though they advised me by saying these things, I thought, I don't know whether I believe in the hells or not, and anyway there is no one who says they have been there and then returned to prove it. So I said to those people, who has gone to the hells and then returned? If the hells exist, where are they? These are just the lies of clever-talking people. Under the ground, there is just solid earth and solid rock. There are no hells. Above, there is only empty sky. There are no Buddhas. So now, while I'm alive, if I kill for my food, it doesn't matter. When I die, my body will be taken to the charnel ground, and it will be eaten by birds and wild animals. Not a trace will be left. My mind will vanish, so at that time who will be left to go to the hells? Ha, ha. So I did not believe in the hells, and I committed negative acts. And I thought, even if the hells do exist, they will only be set in some remote future life. So if I have sufficient food and clothing for now, the next life doesn't seem to matter. So it was through this misunderstanding, this lack of awareness and stupidity, that I committed evil acts. It happened because I was not acquainted with the fact that you, Dharmaraja, you, ox-headed Raksha, and all you others actually exist. I did not knowingly do evil just out of contempt for all of you who exist here in the world of the intermediate state. The fault lies with this misunderstanding and lack of awareness. So now, all of you, Lord and entourage, I request you not to pass judgment upon me. If I had known when I lived in the human world that this all actually existed, I would never have committed negative actions. Now I am stuck here, under the influence of negative mental states. Alas, alas, since you are a king of Dharma, be merciful to me, be my friend and supporter. Underground there exists great suffering, Dharmaraja, so do not send me down there. Instead, please send me upward into the human world. Thereafter, I will never perform evil actions again, only good ones. The deity representing the good conscience, offering a white silk scarf. O Dharmaraja, listen to me. This outcast butcher from Tamradvipa has committed evil deeds owing to his delusion and blinding ignorance, as a result of which he did not understand the difference between good and bad actions. Since he did not act knowingly or with understanding, I therefore petition you not to punish him. He has, after all, also carried out a small number of virtuous actions. Once, when 6 people were unable to escape from the current of a broad river, he saved all 6, with a virtuous intent. As a mark of this, I have 6 white pebbles, and since there are also other virtuous actions similar to this which he has incidentally accumulated, great Dharmaraja, I request your forgiveness on his behalf. As he says this, he prostrates 3 times before Dharmaraja. The black demon representing the bad conscience. Ha, ha, is this all you have to say, white deity of good conscience? Are you not embarrassed to carry this almost empty bowl? He, this low-caste butcher, has spent his life in evil deeds, and has robbed himself of his share of virtue. He has slain all the animals he has ever seen. He has taken warm flesh for food, and he has drunk warm blood as a beverage. He has continuously spoken harshly toward others. In the upper valleys he has slain innocent wildlife. In the lower valleys he has slain innocent fish. And in between he has beaten innocent beggars. He has defamed each and every spiritual teacher, burnt down a large temple, polluted a great lake with poison, burnt a vast mountain forest, beaten his parents, and destroyed a sacred reliquary. Now in Tamradvipa, India, there is no greater wrongdoer than he. Look at the mound of black pebbles. Turning to Lakshanaraka. In case you don't recognize yourself, your country is Tamralipti, India, and your city is Shantikala. Your father is the butcher, Tripon, who came here 8 years ago. Your mother is the butcheress, Pelki, who came here 5 years ago. You are the offspring of these outcast butchers. Now you have come here, haven't you? The year is the water female pig, and this year your feeding in the human world has come to an end. All those of eastern India call you red-handed butcher. All those of southern India call you the wrongdoing Lakshanaraka. All those of western India call you black low-caste butcher. All those of northern India call you the black killer of all. Your caste is the black Chandala caste, and your family line is that of wrongdoing butchers. All generations of your family, without exception, will take the path to hell. When you were killing, you seemed happy. When you ate, it seemed tasty. But does it taste so good now? What use is your clever, slick-talking tongue now? Now the time has come for you to experience suffering, in retribution for the 1,000,000 animal lives you have taken. If you don't experience this suffering, then millions of creatures will have lost everything, and you, Lakshanaraka, will have gained everything. As far as retribution for your crimes is concerned, even Dharmaraja, with his mighty stature, cannot stop the effects of your negative actions, the greatest of which was burning down the temple, and the smallest of which was the killing of lice. This is why you have accumulated all these black pebbles. So it is best if you prepare yourself to move on. Get ready to go swiftly on this black path. There the sealed copper cauldron that awaits you is wide and deep. The waves of boiling bronze are fierce. The fiery mass of past actions is intensely hot, and the messengers of Yama have scant mercy. Dharmaraja's attitude is extremely fierce. The weapons of past actions are sharply pointed, and the black winds of past actions are very powerful. Now is the time for you to go to such a place. Though I really do have compassion for you, I am nonetheless very, very satisfied. You must carry on your back the weight and measure which you used as a fraudulent weight and measure. You must wear at your side the weapons with which you killed many sentient beings. You cannot deny or misrepresent these things. Now the time has come for you to go to the citadels of the 18 hells. He begins to lead Lakshanaraka away. Dharmaraja. Alas, how pitiful, how terrifying. When one has obtained a human form, one should proceed with highly purposeful, virtuous conduct on the path of liberation, where inferior rebirths are left behind. And thus one is never separated from peace and happiness. But on this occasion, when you obtained a human life, you threw away positive actions like dirt and seized upon negative actions, for which reason you have wasted this highly meaningful human body, which is difficult to obtain. Since you have done nothing at all other than return empty-handed from this life, you are only carrying the burden of your negative acts. How sad! Since the actions you have carried out must ripen upon yourself, you cannot be protected even by the power of 1,000 Buddhas. So I cannot respond to this, your appeal, in any way. Since the results of the premeditated negative acts which you carried out when you had freedom will all come to ripen upon you, even though you wail and lament, no one at all should feel sorry for you. Even though you have hopes in me, I have no means to act in any way. Since this mirror of past actions, which reflects phenomenal existence, truly depicts the natural expression of virtuous and negative acts, how can it be that no past actions will appear in the case of wrongdoers? When the deity, who is your good conscience, and the demon, who is your bad conscience, compare the black and white pebbles of past actions, happy is the man who has accumulated virtue. How very remorseful are you, who have accumulated evil. On this dangerous red passageway traversed by all, when you are brought to trial by the executors of Yama's rites, even though you may have been once very powerful, here it will be of no avail. Now is the time for the hearts and lungs of all great wrongdoers to be torn apart. Since you have practiced non-virtue, This reckoning of your past actions will be quicker and more powerful than lightning. So by fleeing you will not escape, and by showing remorse this will be of no help. How pitiful are the human beings of Jambudvipa who do not strive to practice the sacred teachings. There will be no way of helping them. This detailed accounting of positive and negative past actions forbids even the most minute negative deeds. So what are those humans who have no scruples thinking of? Though the white path of liberation leads to joy, and the black path of inferior rebirth leads to suffering, the humans of Jambudvipa do not abandon negative actions, nor do they practice positive actions. And even though they may feel sadness and remorse, past actions cannot be remade. One's past actions accompany one's body like a shadow. I hold all rewards in respect of positive virtues, and I exact punishments in respect of negative deeds. Judging the balance and counterbalance, I examine good and bad actions. So, even though you have regrets, I cannot redo anything. Now, even though I am very merciful, there is still no way that I can help you. Once you take the black path to the hell realms, you cannot be saved, even if you were to be engulfed by the compassion of the sublime ones. So there is absolutely no way for me to do anything. The conqueror has said that sentient beings must reap the fruits of their own past actions. So now the ox-headed one will lead you away. May your negativity and obscurations be quickly purified, and may you then attain the ultimate level of the Buddhas. Ox-headed Raksha. Since it is your own doing, even though you may have regrets, what is the use of that? As for us, we are not responsible for your actions. We have simply distinguished between truth and lies. If you had no responsibility for your past actions, then it would be meaningless for us to harm you. Now, as this is the outcome of your past actions, be off quickly. Then he leads Lakshanaraka away by a black noose, and the black demon representing the bad conscience drives him from behind, goading him along the path represented by the black carpet. Then, in a dark room, he is subjected to shouts of strike, kill, which cause him to cry out in all sorts of ways. The spiritual teacher then makes a detailed elucidation, beginning with the words, O children of Buddha nature, those who have committed evil deeds will be singled out in this manner, and their sufferings will be the same as those described here. You will definitely have such experiences. So whether this core dilemma besets you at this time or not will depend on you yourselves. From now onwards, it is therefore important for you to strive after virtue and avoid negativity, O children of Buddha nature. Act 2. Dharmaraja, as he draws a cross on his wooden slate. Alas, ox-headed Raksha, there is someone from a household in the human world whose lifespan has come to an end. This sign has appeared on my wooden slate. Ox-headed Raksha calling to the venomous snake-headed demon. O venomous snake-headed one, look in your mirror. Look and see where the deceased is. Venomous snake-headed demon. The land of the one whose time has come is in northeast India. The city is called Kamarupa. His social class among the 4 classes is the mercantile class, and his name is the householder Srijata. His lifespan and merits have been exhausted, so the sign of this has appeared on the wooden slate. Now be off quickly and fetch him. So all 3, ox-headed Raksha, boar-headed cemetery spirit, and the demon representing the deceased's bad conscience run off, while in their wake the deity representing the deceased's good conscience rushes to his assistance. As soon as they have found the householder Srijata in the human world at Karma Rupa, the ox-headed one leads him away, and the boar-headed one holds his arm, as the demon representing the deceased's bad conscience chases him from behind. Meanwhile, the deity representing the good conscience offers assistance as the deceased is brought into the presence of Dharma Raja, who questions him. Dharma Raja: O deceased child of Buddha nature, have you not come from the human world? There you had a human body endowed with freedom and favorable opportunities, which is difficult to acquire. You have encountered the Buddha's teachings, which are difficult to encounter, and you have been born as a man in Jambudvipa, where it is difficult to take birth. What positive or virtuous past actions have you gathered? When you lived in the human world, did you practice the sacred teachings, mindful of cultivating mental virtues and physical purity? What compounded virtues and attributes do you possess that would enable you to be saved from rebirth in the hells? Did you create images, books, and stupas representative of Buddha body, speech, and mind? Did you commission the writing and recitation of the scriptures? Did you mold terracotta imprints? Did you offer water libations? Did you clear rocks from roads? Did you remove bothersome thorns from bad roads? Did you make offerings to those above? Did you bestow charity on those below? Did you scatter barley dough and grain at anthills? What other subtle acts of virtue did you accumulate over and above these? Also, did you study, reflect, and meditate on the Buddhist teachings? And did you keep your one-day vows and fasts? Did you receive meditative instruction, empowerments, and guidance? What other virtues of this type have you accumulated? Tell me quickly now. Negative past actions related to the body are killing, of which the greatest offense is the killing of one's parents, and the smallest is the killing of lice and nits, stealing, improper sexual conduct, and so forth. So what negative actions of body have you accumulated? Then the negative actions related to speech are meaningless gossip, harsh words, slander, lies, and so forth. So what negative actions of speech have you accumulated? The negative actions related to mind are covetousness, harmful intent, distorted views, and so on. So what negative actions have you accumulated mentally? Also, with regard to the 5 inexpiable crimes and the 5 approximate crimes, what negative or non-virtuous actions have you accumulated, motivated through body, speech, or mind? Tell me now in clear detail. The householder Srijata, in a terrified and trembling voice: May I speak in the presence of Dharma Raja? I am the householder Srijata, a citizen of the city of Karma Rupa in the northeast of India. I also have female dependents. I was a humble person, self-sufficient in food and drink. I was a faithful devotee who made fulsome offerings to all the fine spiritual teachers who came to my district. I encouraged others to engage in virtuous actions. Motivated by virtue and good intent, I have restored ruined temples, saved many living creatures from certain death, and repeatedly received profound empowerments and guidance. When I traveled around, I cleared dangerous paths. When I stayed at home, I recited the 6-syllable mantra, and I kept my one-day vows and fasts. I am a householder who made offerings to the 3 precious jewels above, and gave charity to those of unfortunate birth below. I am indeed a bodhisattva. This is why everyone calls me the householder Lakshmin, endowed with wealth. Such is the unbroken sequence of my virtuous actions. As for my negative past actions, although I had the intention not to harm even a single living being. Since I was submerged in the perverse world which is cyclic existence, and I had a son, and in order for him to be able to join in matrimony, I took the lives of 10 animals for the wedding feast. I confessed the negativity of this action and recited the diamond cutter 100 times. Then, when I and my neighbors took the lives of many living creatures in order to pay taxes in support of the village community, I too felt much remorse and made confession. Also, since I had lived as a worldly householder, I thought that I must have unintentionally killed many insects underfoot and by my hands, for which reason I often felt remorse. Since the credentials of my virtuous and negative actions are established in these ways, I beg you to consider this conduct and favor me with your compassion. Dharma Raja. Well then, if it is true what you have said, then you have thought well about virtuous and negative actions, and about cause and effect. But I shall consult the mirror of past actions, because you human beings are clever liars. He shows him the mirror. Look, fortunate child of Buddha nature, this mirror of past actions in which phenomenal existence is clearly reflected is clearer than the omniscient eye that perceives the 3 times. When it manifestly reveals the natural expression of virtuous and negative past actions, whatever you have done in the human world, all the virtuous and negative actions you have committed in the human world will visibly appear immediately. So what lies and deceit have you spoken? Look at this mirror right now. Then, looking at the mirror, well, the virtuous and negative actions of which you have now spoken are not false. Well done. You will be sent on the white path. The black demon representing the deceased's bad conscience. Hey, may I speak in the presence of Dharma Raja? This bad person, called the householder Srijata, has indulged his whole life in negative actions and has cared only for his own long-term selfish interests. His name is the householder Srijata, and his nickname is Monkeyhead. As for this faithless householder Srijata, his birth year is the year of the ox, his birthplace is Kama Rupa city, and his background is that of the mercantile class. He engaged in the following negative actions. Hurrying uptown, he killed his father and quarreled. Then, rushing downtown, he fought with his neighbors. He threw stones at the camel belonging to his neighbor, Sri Bhadra, and although he killed it, he denied his action and lied about it. He pushed the scribe Prajnamati's young elephant over a cliff, and although he killed it, he denied his action and lied about it. Now we can compare the pebbles. How will it be possible for him to take the white path? It is utterly appropriate that he should go on the black path. He pours 3 handfuls of black pebbles to his bowl. The white deity representing the good conscience. May I speak in the presence of Dharma Raja? The householder Lakshmin Srijata is a most faithful devotee. He has strong interest in the sacred teachings and has avoided negative actions. When about 500 miscreants were brought to trial in the presence of the Maharaja, he offered 500 srung of gold and saved their lives. In the Indian city of Kamarupa, the householder Srijata alone is one who possesses great faith. Now we can compare the pebbles. How will it be possible for him to take the black path? He should now set out, guided along the white path. He pours out about 6 measures of white pebbles into his bowl. The monkey-headed elemental spirit. Deity and demon of conscience, both of you have no need to disagree, because when I raise my scale balance, the measures of virtue and negativity will be determined by the weights. Now if you look, the outcome will be obvious. He weighs the pebbles, whereupon the white container is 3 times heavier. Dharmaraja. Wonderful. Those who have obtained a human body, who delight in the sacred teachings and fully realize their life's potential, as this achievement cannot be stolen or snatched by others, will themselves find happiness through their own virtues. With respect to this way of being, such as that of the householder Lakshmin Srijata, how wonderful it would be if all sentient beings were to do the same. Supplicate Avalokiteshvara right now and instantly travel the white path. Dharmaraja prays. I pray to the meditational deity Mahakarunika at the summit of Mount Portalaka in the east. Grant your blessings that we may realize the nature of mind to be the Buddha body of reality. He then recites the aspirational prayer, calling to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas for assistance, and then gives formal introduction to the methods for obstructing the womb entrances during the intermediate state of rebirth and for choosing a womb. Lastly, he confers the introduction to the methods of transferring consciousness to the pure Buddha fields. Immediately afterwards, the curtain is suddenly drawn back, and the form of Avalokiteshvara is vividly displayed. The householder Srijata is led along the path of virtue, represented by the white carpet, clad in fine robes, and wearing fine ornaments. Dharmaraja, offering praise. O child of Buddha nature, this is how one should serve the purpose of obtaining a human body. Rejoice in this. Then he recites the following aspirational prayer of Avalokiteshvara 3 times. Om Mane Padme Hum Hri. May all sentient beings, including you, Srijata, be guided on the path by the essence of the 6-syllable mantra. May cyclic existence with its 3 world systems be churned to its depths, and may the hells be exhausted and emptied. He urges all to recite that 6-syllable mantra. The spiritual teacher. O children of Buddha nature, behold this distinction between the happiness and suffering experienced by the evil red-handed butcher and the faithful householder Srijata, in consequence of their disparate accumulations of virtue and negativity. As we ourselves shall also encounter such experiences soon, it is most important that we strive after virtue and refrain from negativity. Then the spiritual teacher should confer the empowerment of the peaceful and wrathful deities, recite the auspicious verses, and perform the aspirational prayer for the dedication of merit, followed by the concluding rite. Colophon. How wonderful! I, Padmakara, having actually seen the hells, compose this masked drama as an adjunct to the teaching of the great liberation by hearing in the intermediate states, in order to benefit sentient beings of the future. May it be encountered by those who are fortunate. This concludes the natural liberation of the intermediate state of rebirth, a teaching revealing the natural expression of virtue and negativity. May all be auspicious. Part 2. Supplement to the masked drama of rebirth. Herein is contained the supplement to the teaching revealing the natural expression of virtue and negativity in the intermediate state of rebirth, entitled Gong of Divine Melody, which is an extract from The Peaceful and Wrathful Deities, a profound sacred teaching entitled Natural Liberation Through Recognition of Enlightened Intention. I bow down to Samantabhadra and the peaceful and wrathful deities. The scene. In the context of the masked drama entitled A Teaching Revealing the Natural Expression of Virtue and Negativity, which is associated with the introduction to the intermediate state of rebirth, the one called The wrongdoing Lakshmanaraka, 100,000 hells, is shown entering the inferior realms. Amidst the thunderous cries of strike and kill uttered by the executors of Yama's rites, he travels the black path, after which Dharmaraja teaches on the disadvantages of committing negative actions to the entire audience assembled there. Following this, the deity representing the good conscience should appear in a state of sadness and should urge the audience to recite the 6-syllable mantra. Act 1. The deity representing the good conscience. Please recite the 6-syllable mantra once on behalf of the deceased, the wrongdoing Lakshmanaraka. Om Mani Padme Hum Hri. Please recite the 6-syllable mantra once on behalf of all beings present within the intermediate state of rebirth. Then, speaking to the assembled audience, "O listen, I am the one called Deity of Good Conscience. This wrongdoing Lakshmanaraka has committed many negative actions, as a result of which, at this moment in the whole world, I can only find 6 tiny white pebbles representing his virtuous actions, but there are innumerable pebbles here representing his non-virtuous past actions. Now, by the power of his bad past actions, he has been led away to the hells by the executors of Yama's rites. Although I wanted to guide him to higher rebirths, I have been unable to find a way to help him. All of you who inhabit the human world of Jambudvipa, and all of you gathered here, should not now engage in negative actions but practice only virtue. These following messages are the ones which we now send to you from the intermediate state of rebirth." Then, circumambulating the mandala and chanting the 6-syllable mantra in a melodious voice, he continues with a sad demeanor. "How wonderful! I pray to gracious Dharmaraja, glorious embodiment of the activities of the Buddhas of the 3 times, who manifests for the benefit of beings. Alas! Listen and be attentive, all you gathered here. Considering the difficulties of obtaining a human form, all those who commit non-virtuous and negative acts while living in the world will have missed the opportunity of escaping from this ocean of suffering. All such beings living in this world, who are all powerless to remain in the world for long, will feel remorse when entering the jaws of the Lord of Death. But this remorse will be of no benefit to them then, for despite their sorrows they will be obliged to move on. All peoples of the past have gathered family and wealth around them, hoping these would last forever, but when their own impermanence and death arrive, they set out alone, devoid of refuge or sanctuary. The relatives and friends surrounding us in this life are like a gathering of shoppers at a market. Although they seem close to us, they are not dependable. When the market closes, the shoppers will disperse. Likewise, this illusory aggregate of form, like a fallen cairn at the top of a pass, will be severed of all its flesh and bones. This, our body, is not to be relied on. Even though we have cherished this body, a collection of pus, blood, serum, and sinews, it is nonetheless ever on the verge of disintegration. Even though we miss it, birds and dogs will devour it. Even though we try to sustain it by engaging in ritual services, it will be snatched away by Yama, the Lord of Death. This body, composed of the 4 elements, will be left behind on the earth. Our consciousness will travel as a wanderer through the intermediate states, and the habitual tendencies of our negative past actions will follow like a shadow. How pitiful that we have committed non-virtuous actions. The deity and demon representing our good and bad conscience will compare the white and black pebbles of past actions, and Dharmaraja will reveal all in the all-seeing mirror. All great wrongdoers will suffer these torments. Even though they should not commit even the slightest negative acts, the human beings of Jambudvipa are let down by wrongdoing. It is by engaging in virtue that they will be reborn in the higher realms, and by engaging in negativity that they will travel to the hells. At this one time, when one has attained a human body, but failed to return with at least some virtue, what a pity it is that we carry the alternative burden of negativity and bring sufferings upon ourselves. The hunters in the mountains, the fishermen by the rivers, and those who kill domestic livestock will transmigrate and be reborn in the 18 hells. Those who engage in deceit and deception, having adulterated measures and weights, and those who steal, plunder, or deceive, will long roam through the 3 inferior existences. Those bound to their wealth by the knot of miserliness, those who squander the property of others, and those who appropriate donations made to the 3 precious jewels, will long roam through the realms of anguished spirits. This, the impact of non-virtuous past actions, is like a thunderbolt. It is extremely powerful, and even though we feel remorse, it will be of no help. We will not be able to escape. The punishment for negative actions is exacted by Yama. In this dangerous passageway traversed by all, the executives of Yama's rights bring us to trial. Pity those human beings who do not avoid negativity, for there is no way to help them. How severe is the attitude of Dharmaraja, how precise is the accounting of the deity and demon of conscience, how remorseful are the great wrongdoers. Only by engaging in virtue will one proceed to higher rebirths. Alas, the body ages day by day. The lifespan is consumed moment by moment, dying in turn one after another. Sentient beings of this errant, degenerate age have lifespans shorter than the tail of a sheep. All householders with many dependents, such as this wrongdoer, will reap the fruits of their evil past actions in so many ways, and even their relatives and friends will one day arise as their enemies. In these bad times, keeping a household can in itself engender sorrow. Now, therefore, having attained a human body, endowed with freedom and favorable opportunities, direct your thought towards your own mind. The critical point is to concentrate on the sacred teachings. Then you will be happy in this life and joyful in the next. Act 2.